Welcome to Elevate Springfield, where we will dive into strategies and stories that help you rise to your full potential. Each episode, we'll talk about how you can take intentional steps to elevate your life and your business while making a meaningful impact on those around you. Along the way, we're going to bring in the change makers from our community that are already elevating. We'll bring the actionable strategies, you bring the discipline and follow through, and together we can elevate Springfield.
All right, let's go, Springfield. Time to 10X, time to level up. Hey, you are listening to the Elevate Springfield podcast, coming to you from the Big Dog Construction Studio in beautiful downtown Springfield. Robert Farrell here, certified 10X coach, speaker, and mentor, here to bring you actionable strategies. You bring the discipline and follow through, and together we're going to elevate Springfield. Well, hey, you are listening to the Wellness Upgrade on Elevate Springfield, where we're going to bring you specific strategies to help elevate your health and wellness. Hey, if you're not elevating your health and wellness, you're not going to be able to elevate in all other areas. This is the baseline. You know I'm passionate about it, and you know that's why I brought this segment to Elevate Springfield. We want to thank our friends over at Shudokan Karate Club here in Springfield. Sensei Dennis and his team, over 50 years in the Springfield area. Traditional karate, teaching self-discipline, confidence, community. Traditional, powerful, real. That's Shudokan Karate Club here in Springfield. Check them out. ShudokanKarateSpringfield.com. We're going to get right to our guest after the break.
When I first walked into Shudokan Karate Club, I was just looking for a way to get stronger, but what I found was so much more. Here we train in traditional karate, the real stuff, passed down through generations. Every punch, every kata has purpose. I've learned self-discipline, confidence, and how to protect myself. Not just in class, but in real life. It's not about being aggressive, it's about being prepared. This is more than a club, it's a way of life. Join us at Shudokan, traditional, powerful, real. Ki!
And we are back. Joining me in the studio now, Dr. Samantha Waggener from Waggener Chiropractic. Dr. Sammy, how you doing today?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Fantastic. Appreciate you spending the afternoon with me.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
So talk to us a little bit more about your overall view of health and wellness, some of your main do's and don'ts, things like that.
Absolutely. So I think one of the biggest things that I always say is practice what you preach. So I get adjusted often. I make sure my family gets adjusted often. It's funny, our like holidays and events and stuff, I have a table at the house and everybody gets adjusted, right? So practice what you preach. Everyone in the office gets adjusted, and massage therapy. I also think the way that we eat and the things that we avoid also help with our overall wellness. My husband's really into health and wellness too. And so at chiropractic care, we get massage, we eat clean for the most part, we take our supplementation, we get fresh air.
Eating clean, what's your nutrition regimen? What kind of stuff?
My husband, he loves to cook. It's so cliche, but there's so much processed, quick stuff now.
Yeah.
If you're doing something quick, it's probably not good for you. But you can also do simple things. So Derek makes a lot of my meals for me, to be honest. And he does just a lot of whole foods, not a lot of snacky things. Or if you look at an ingredient label and 99% of it, you don't know what it is, your body also doesn't know what that is.
Exactly.
And so drinking plenty of water, I always tell my patients, try to get half of your body weight in ounces of water per day. That's so important. Throw some electrolytes in the morning, and not these over-processed liquid IV electrolytes.
Yeah, because there's some bad ones out there.
Oh, just full of stuff you don't want in your body. It's not going to recognize it. So even if you're doing a little bit of salt and lemon in the morning, or if you're doing something like that, just starting your day out like that, getting your water in, that kind of stuff is important.
I do the salt thing every morning.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's
Absolutely.
the first thing I do.
Yeah, a lot of my patients think, like, oh, I do liquid IV or I do this. And I'm like, I appreciate the want to do the right thing, but sometimes that's not always what's best.
No,
So
pretty simple. Some of the Baja Gold sea salt is what I like.
got it.
Off we go.
half a lemon, you're on with it.
So,
Yeah, I mean, with the nutrition, a lot of times people overthink it. Like you said, just
Yeah.
whole foods.
Right.
Eat real food.
Right.
Don't, try to stay away from the stuff that's packaged in boxes and bags. Just
Absolutely. And it's funny, in chiropractic school, it doesn't count for everything now in the grocery store, but for the most part, try to stick to the outside of the grocery store.
Yeah.
A lot of your processed things are going to be internal. So that's kind of a good rule of thumb too. It doesn't always work, but
any absolute, hey, I stay away from this almost every time.
Artificial dye is 110%.
Yeah.
I know it's so, it's so trendy, and I know that a lot of people talk about it, but doing what I do and being in chiropractic all day long and seeing kids especially and adults though, the way that alters your body, you would have no idea how terrible it is for you. But once you remove it, if you accidentally have it one time, you're like, oh my gosh, I used to feel like this all the time, or my kid used to behave this way all the time, or whatever it is. So I know that it's trendy, but artificial dye is 110%.
Oh, that one's a huge one.
There's a
we're the same.
reason that in other countries they don't allow it.
Exactly.
There's a reason for that.
No doubt about it. Yeah, we've been on that train for a long time as well. Get
and
all
it's
that out of there.
hard. A lot of the kiddos that come into my office know that they can't have artificial dyes, and so we offer other dye-free options. And so they know when they come in, they get a dye-free option or they get a sticker or something like that. So they're still excited. But you can't shelter your kid from everything all the time, or yourself from everything all the time. You're still going to have environment. You're still going to be put in situations where you can't totally avoid it. And I completely understand that. But it's not that hard to not have those things.
Yeah.
There's options out there, especially now with the way the world is going. So there's a lot of other options out there that don't have dyes in them. So please, please, please don't do it.
I
Don't
agree.
do it.
I agree. Yeah, no, I don't know if I'm the label Nazi or whatever you want to call it, but yeah, I look at all those, and I, with my girls, and they look at them now too, and they're like, nope, that has that in it.
Yes,
Nope.
I know. Your girls are so cute about that in my office. I absolutely love it. And I can have a full, very mature conversation with them about it because of how they're raised. And so I try to encourage without being obnoxious to families about that, and that there are other options, and that dyes are in so much. And so just read the label. If it has it, find an alternative. It doesn't need to be this like complicated thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, one thing I've done too is almost completely gotten rid of all sugar out of my diet, other than just some fruit here and there. But I think that's huge.
It
I mean,
is
our
huge.
diets are so laden with sugar.
And it's insane to me how much sugar is actually in things that you don't even know, like ketchup. People use ketchup for everything. I always encourage people to get like MyFitnessPal or something like that.
Yeah.
If you type something in and you really, truly track every single thing that goes into your body, it's way more than you think it is. I only had this today, but then I also had this, and I had a bite of this, and I added this. Like, all of those things add up so quickly, and you have no idea what amount of sugar is in things until you actually kind of like start keeping track of it. It is mind-blowing, the amount. So yeah, just trying to limit. And again, I'm a firm believer. I live my life, and we enjoy birthday parties and we do things, but I am not about to have any sprinkles on that cake.
That's right.
So it's just keeping an open mind and being realistic, and not completely limiting yourself from everything wonderful in life, but obviously being aware.
Yeah. Any nutrition regimen in terms of like higher protein, higher fat diets, lower carb, higher carb, anything you?
Sure. So there's so many fad diets out there, and that's what's hard. I have patients coming in like, oh, I'm going carb free, or I'm going keto. And, there's different diseases out there that encourage certain diets, and I can appreciate that. But there's a reason in the old days we were so much healthier than we are now, because we were eating more protein. We were eating some fruits, and we were eating some carbs. We weren't just eating carbs, or we weren't just eating processed foods or whatever it is. But I always try to encourage, and this again can be controversial, but like the weight that you want to be, or the weight that you're comfortable at, try to get that amount of grams of protein in a day. Start your morning out with protein and water. Don't just drink coffee on an empty stomach, which can lead to so many other points. But obviously high protein, people don't want to hear that, but it's the truth.
It is.
It's the truth. And so there's certain methods that people always go back to, especially our healthiest people, and it's high protein, but well-rounded, healthy amount of fats, healthy amount of carbs, that kind of stuff. So
same way on the protein, gram per pound of ideal or body weight that you want to be. That's all when I've always had my most success. So
absolutely.
Any protein higher quality than others that you like? I mean, when it comes to eggs or beef or chicken or fish?
My husband and I are big hunters, and so I always try to encourage, if we were able to take it from the earth yourself, that's usually one of the best sources. So we do a ton of deer, but if you're not a hunter and you don't have that possibility, I think a lot of the processed protein shakes, again, going back to the things that you can really quickly eat or drink. Now, I'm not saying that I've never done that, because there's been some mornings where the weekend just didn't work out. We were gone and I'm like, I just have to do it.
Yeah.
It happens. Nobody's perfect. But for the most part, just if it's something that has come from our earth and hasn't been through a million hands of people who are making money off of it, it's usually good for you.
Completely agree. And then with those protein shakes too, we were talking earlier about all the different stuff that's in the electrolytes and different things in those protein shakes. If you have to be really, really careful, because there could be so much junk in them.
And it's really interesting. Some of my patients that do a lot of, they think they're doing well. They do a lot of protein shakes. They do a lot of really processed creatine or something like that. And then they go get blood work done and their kidney function is off. Their liver function is off. They're like, man, I'm healthy. I work out. I do all this. It's because your body's trying to process all these things that it's not used to having inside of it. So focusing on more of like a clean route that way is so important, rather than, some of that other stuff.
Absolutely. So,
yeah, me either.
Very cool. So any other tips and tricks for nutrition, wellness, working out, anything along those lines?
A couple things there with working out. That's a hard one, especially, and it's something I battle all day long, almost every week, because I do have long days, but finding some type of consistent routine. So, in this year, I've really gotten into Pilates and I go 4 times a week or 3 times a week, whatever your schedule allows. Finding something that you really love is important. Not doing something, I have a lot of people like, oh, I'm going to try CrossFit because I love how their bodies look, or I'm going to try running because runners have great bodies. Right. If you don't really enjoy it though, it's never going to be sustainable. So I always try to encourage even a lot of people, which you wouldn't believe this just because of the lifestyles that we live, but a lot of people don't even go for walks. They don't even get 3,000 steps a day. Right. So just trying, everybody says try to get 10,000 steps a day. That might not be for everybody. Some people need 20,000. Some people need 5,000. Any steps are better than no steps is what I say though. So trying to find something consistent that you enjoy doing. That's been huge for me. This is like the most consistent I've been in something for a very, very long time. And then from a nutrition standpoint, we have these supplements that we always recommend to people, and not always, but for the most part, if somebody's struggling with something. So I always say, try to keep an open mind, but most average Americans need a fish oil. It's an anti-inflammatory. It's good for blood thinning. Most people need a probiotic. Most people are deficient in magnesium, and most people in the Midwest are deficient in vitamin D. So just choosing those 4, obviously it's wonderful if you can get some blood work done and not just take a stab and hope you're doing the right thing. But definitely that's what, 89% of people in the United States are deficient in. So that's usually a good, place to start. One more thing with that though is it's interesting. A lot of people just go to CVS or Walmart or Walgreens to get supplements. Please don't do that. Harvard's done a ton of really cool studies and they've released them where they've tested a lot of those just big box store supplements that are everywhere. They're cheap for a reason. You might as well use that money as toilet paper, because none of that stuff is really high quality. One of the studies that they released a few years ago stated that in a lot of those supplements that there's really only 5% of the actual nutrient in the whole bottle. Really only 5% of it is contained in that bottle. Wow. And so a lot of those, we would do x-rays on patients and we'd see stuff in their colon and we're like, what is that? And they're like, well, I do take a men's daily. It's just sitting there. So making sure you're getting quality supplements, either from a provider or from a Food Fantasy or something like that. Don't just go to Walmart or Walgreens and get your supplements.
Yeah, and that magnesium is huge. I listen to a lot of Dr. Hyman. I listen to him a lot, Dr. Gundry and all those folks. Dr. Hyman, I love his functional medicine approach and everything. And he's talked a lot about magnesium because that actually causes a lot of issues, right?
Yes,
if you're deficient in
so
magnesium.
many different things. Yeah. And I always have people tell me like, oh, well, I heard online or TikTok, I saw that I should be taking magnesium. There are so many different kinds of magnesium. So it just depends on what you're taking it for. The biggest magnesium sold out there is magnesium oxide. The biggest waste of magnesium there is. Don't waste your time and money. It's the easiest. It's what's left over. It's the cheapest to produce. People think they're getting a good magnesium supplement. So I think it depends on what you're taking it for. If you're taking it for sleep or if you're taking it for muscle tightness, and a lot of supplements, a standard dose of magnesium is 50 milligrams, but a standard adult should really be getting 400 milligrams in a day.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Give or take the person and what they have going on. But so I think it's different for everybody, but finding a good supplement, finding what magnesium or whatever's right for you, and then taking the right amount and the right time of day, stuff like that.
And how do you help your clients with that? when you said you recommend these supplements, you have supplements in-house there that you guys have?
do.
Or do you?
I do. I
recommend?
carry orthomolecular products. You know, you're always constantly getting bombarded with supplement companies wanting you to sell their product. And that goes back to practice what you preach. I take a wide variety of orthomolecular products. It depends on who you talk to. One of my good friends is a medical doctor, and she's like, if you eat a good enough diet, you don't really need supplements. That might be the case for some people. Most Americans do not have a good diet and they need help. That's what it comes down to. And so I carry orthomolecular products in my office, and I don't recommend those 4 we talked about. I don't recommend those to everybody. And I honestly don't even bring it up unless a patient talks to me about it, because that goes back to being a used car salesman.
Sure.
Some people think, oh, when you go to the chiropractor, you have to go back a million times. They try to sell you $1,000 worth of supplements. And that is true. And I don't want that. And if I'm really recommending something, it's because I actually think you need it. There's plenty of ways to make money in the world. And when it boils down to it, it's not all about the money. So if you're selling somebody $800 worth of supplements in a visit, they come back a month later, they don't feel any better. And now they're mad because they don't feel any better. They spent all this money. Now they don't trust you. I just don't go that route. So if somebody asks me about it, or if I truly think somebody can benefit from it, I bring it up. I don't ever bring it up on the first visit unless they ask me about it. And I don't ever push it like a used car salesman. So that's just something that's the way I operate. That doesn't mean that that's right and that's what everybody should do, but that's just what I do.
You know, you mentioned a second ago about, somebody said if you eat healthy enough, you don't need supplementation. I've heard that too, and I'm very clean in terms of what I eat and everything. I've also heard that our soil is depleted, where it doesn't have the same nutrients as it used to. Most of the food that's out there wasn't produced properly, so it's not as nutrient dense as it used to be either. So really, no matter how healthy you're eating, unless you know exactly where that food came from, you probably still need a supplement.
You got it. It's just so different now. You know, we have to produce things so differently, and, the cost of things is so different now. And we have to have such a high amount of things to keep up with the population. And so the quality has kind of decreased. And then modern day farming has really removed a lot of magnesium from the soil and stuff like that. So the way we do things now and the way things are present now is completely different than how it used to be. So although some people might not need it, for the most part, we're not getting what we used to. So we need to have some help with that.
On the magnesium front, I take magnesium supplement every night. And I can, if we go on vacation and we forget it or something, you can definitely see the difference. You can definitely tell the difference.
And sometimes I tell my patients that, if you don't think that this is helping you, completely understand. It might not be the right thing for everybody. Take a little bit of time off. And then you'll be like, man, I really needed that magnesium or that fish oil or whatever.
Right. Because you don't realize that you've gotten into kind of a new normal, and you don't realize how much better you feel than you did, because it might have been more of a gradual increase to that.
Same thing with artificial dyes, or same thing with chiropractic care. I talk to people all the time that are like, I'm not in any pain. I don't need to be adjusted. And I'm like, you don't know what it feels like to feel good. They get into this, like, this is how they've always felt. This is what they think is normal. It kills me when I have people come in and they've circled that they have headaches. I'm like, how often are you getting headaches? They're like, oh, just normal, a couple times a week. That's not normal.
Right.
Headaches aren't normal. But the way the world is, people think that's normal.
Right.
And so that's been one of the things I'm like, I don't ever want to talk down to somebody, but I'm like, that's not normal, right?
Right. Exactly.
So I think that's something too, is most people don't know what it feels like to feel good. So.
No, completely agree. They don't know what normal should feel like. And then as people get older, they just attribute, I'm just getting a little
age,
older.
Arthritis.
That's just what happens to people.
Right. And that's so not true. And I tell my patients that all the time too. A lot of times people come in and are like, well, I guess I'm just arthritic now. Like, your body can be riddled with arthritis and you can be completely asymptomatic. Arthritis is just something that happens, but then what you put in your body is how it responds to that arthritis. So, certain processed foods or sugar attacks areas of fragility. And so when you have these arthritic areas, or you have a surgery, or you've had a traumatic event, those kind of go to those areas that have had trauma. And so you might have a flared up low back, but it's because of what you're putting into it or what you're doing. You can have arthritis forever and not even know you have it. It's just, your symptoms are flared up.
Absolutely. But take care of yourselves. You won't have as many of those quote unquote age-related things.
You got it.
Just
I
eat right, exercise, stay active.
Yeah, some of the 80-year-olds I have in my office that do the right things are some of the healthiest people that I treat. And then I've got some 20-year-olds that can't get out of bed in the morning.
Right.
So it completely depends on how you take care of yourself.
No
Absolutely.
doubt about it. Do you do any of some of the biohacking tools that are popular now, like the red light therapies and the cold plunges and everything?
into any of that stuff?
Yeah, so I think that there is a lot to be said for some of that red light therapy and some of those cold plunges. I think the problem that we run into is people see trendy things online and then they want to try it and it might not be appropriate for them. If you're somebody that has a very high intensity job, you're a manual labor or something like that, you should be cold plunging at night. You've put your body through some chaos during the day, so you've got to remove some inflammation. Your body's made to do that. You're made to work. I don't want you to not work, but then you've got to come home and you've got to remove some inflammation. You've got to make sure you're drinking plenty of water. You've got to take your fish oil. You've got to take your turmeric or whatever. So cold plunging for people like that, and for some of our athletes and for some of our high stress individuals, it's really good for people like that. It's not for everybody. I hate being cold.
I do too.
And I know the benefit of cold plunge, but the mental stress and trauma that it puts on me is not worth it for me.
Right.
So that's kind of a double-edged sword. There are certain things that are so incredible for certain people. I can't get past it. I don't have the mental durability to go through cold plunging, but that doesn't mean that it's not right for someone else.
Yeah.
So there's something out there for everybody for sure. The red light therapy is hot right now. It's very, very trendy. And I've got laser therapy in my office, class 4 laser therapy in my office. There is a lot of really good stuff out there. And then there's a lot of really gimmicky, cheap, not good stuff out there. So the thing I tell all my patients, like, should I buy this blanket or this sauna, or please do your research. If it's $50, it's $50 for a reason.
Exactly.
There's a reason things are expensive. And that to be said, there's some expensive things out there that also aren't worth it. So please, before you buy something like that or commit time to that, make sure it's going to be worth it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I do cold every morning, but I'm the same way. I absolutely despise it. So it's every time, here we go.
Let's get this over with.
Let's do it.
I despise it. Yeah, which is funny because I hunt and do all that stuff in the cold weather, but it's just they make a lot of things now and it's incredible what we can do to stay warm. And if I don't have to be cold, I don't want to be.
Absolutely. No, tons of good stuff. All right, we're going to let Dr. Samantha Waggener get back to elevating Springfield, but for the rest of y'all, we'll be right back.
Hey, Springfield, when it comes to reliable, high-quality roofing, you don't want to leave things to chance. That's why you should reach out to Acosta Angeli Roofing, your local roofing expert serving Springfield and surrounding communities. From quick, dependable repairs to full replacement, from residential to commercial, they are your trusted pros. Call them today at 217-993-2748 or visit their website to book your free quote and inspection. Don't wait. A little leak now could lead to major damage later. Trust the local experts, protect your home, and get peace of mind with Acosta Angeli Roofing. Well, thank you for joining us today, everybody. Appreciate you making us a part of your day. Hope you're enjoying these quick hits of actionable strategies here on the Wellness Upgrade on Elevate Springfield. Thank you again to Shudokan Karate Club. Hey, take what you learned today. You bring the discipline and follow through, and together, that's right, y'all, we're going to elevate Springfield. Be great.
Looking for expert tree care with hometown integrity? Look no further than Sangamon Tree Service. They're your trusted local pros, delivering quality workmanship, exceptional customer service, and fair, honest pricing every time. Whether it's trimming, removal, or storm cleanup, their team brings professionalism and care to every job, big or small. Call the name your neighbors trust, Sangamon Tree Service, or visit them today at SangamonTreeService.com. Sangamon Tree Service, rooted in quality, built on trust.